I've seen the work that you do and the bells that you play with. I mean, you're strong as shit. Like, did the strength, was that almost kind of like an added bonus of like, oh my gosh, this is getting me really strong too? Or was that something you were kind of seeking out when you got into kettlebell training as well?
No, that was like an added bonus. That was almost like I didn't know it was gonna make me that strong. It's just when I started getting that strong, I was like, oh, okay. Like, why would I go back to that, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, I like to say that kettlebells just like build that really dense muscle because, you know, I personally, in my opinion, don't think I look as strong as I really am, but obviously I am. So I like that. I like being like the underestimated athlete. Like, oh, she doesn't look that strong, but then I can go snatch 80 pounds over my head with a kettlebell like it's nothing.
Right. My God, I'm laughing. I've had that so many times because I'm a small frame guy. I'm 160 pounds, and same type. I've had people look at me before, like, what weights are those? And it's like, yeah, I know. I don't look that way. That happened last year. She's like, you don't look like you should lift that. I was like, oh, thanks. I guess I've heard it before. No, I
Right.
totally. Well, the physique aspect is an interesting topic, I think, because as coaches, I think we know the benefits of feeling strong, of getting better, and we're trying to kind of push that narrative more towards people and clients. But changing your body and like getting that body and looking the way that you want it to, I mean, that's a powerful thing. Like that's not something to shy away from. And I think in the industry, a lot of people are trying to get away from that narrative of like changing. It's not about the looks, it's about how you feel. But it's like, yeah, if somebody like has an image that they want to portray in the mirror and you can help them get there, like, yeah, like that's a motivation that I think you should leverage. And I think coaches should not shy away from that, like, because that's where a lot of people are like first thinking of. Maybe they're not thinking of the strength benefits or what else this could do for them. They just want to see somebody different in the mirror.
Yes, exactly. And I totally agree with that because like you take somebody who doesn't really know much, they're just like, I want big legs, I want, a nice upper body or a six pack or whatever. They don't think about the strength that and the functionality of the strength that you could have to use towards other things. But it's like, yeah, like the physique, I think, is definitely the motivating factor at the forefront of everyone's brain, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's got to be a part of it. And it's like, it's something like, yeah, somebody wants to do that. Absolutely. Like make that a goal of it. And, Dr. Lisa, when she was on, talks about leveraging motivation. It's like whatever someone's motivated on, like, yeah, use that at the time and put in the other stuff that is going to benefit them as well.
Right.
But don't just throw that away. And, I think I've made that mistake before. I'm sure a million other people have as well. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, now I see like I'm not like now I'm not chasing a specific physique. I just want to be strong. But like when
Right.
I back in the day, it was definitely like I would see these people on Instagram. Like I would follow just like some random influencers that you may have heard of today that I admired because of their physique. And it was like, oh, I'm gonna have her abs, I'm gonna have her legs,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely think that that's a factor, the main factor, at least in the beginning.
It is. It's power. No, it is. It's powerful. I totally understand it. So now getting into like your coaching world, because you said you had the 13-year-old with her dad, and that was a big change over. What was big about the change? Was it like I can't put myself into the mind of like a 50-year-old man, and this was kind of a difference, or was it like he moved differently? What was kind of that kind of change like?
Well, for me, it was just like, I don't know. I think I was more shocked that he was seeking me to be his coach because,
Mm,
like, I had my coach who was still coaching and he didn't seek him to coach. So it was like, I don't know, maybe because it was his daughter that was with him and
mhm,
that's why he wanted me to coach him. I really don't know. But for me, it was just more of like at the time I'd only been in it for probably like close to 5 years. And I
mhm,
was like, it was kind of like oh, like, okay, this is people actually want me to coach them. So
mhm.
that was like a learning curve. Because like I said, I didn't intend on being a coach. I just personally started it for me. And then when he seeked me out to be his coach, I was like, oh, okay. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can be a coach. And it definitely taught me a lot. Like, as a coach, like I learned a lot of like, I made mistakes coaching him and like maybe giving him too many reps or something or too long of a workout or
Mhm.
whatever it was. But in that moment I learned from it. And yeah, it kept me always, I was always trying to be better than the previous session, or always trying to come up
Yeah.
with ways to make it fun. And because I knew for my personal training, I needed it to be fun first, because I needed it to be something that I looked forward to doing, not something that I was like, oh, okay. But I wanted it to be fun. And I don't know, I think he was the guy who, the father, he was a more of a Spartan race runner. So it was just like a eye-opening experience for me. I really don't know how to explain it. Like, it was more of like, okay, I can do this. Like, or like, I'm gonna figure it out because I have to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it's just a learning experience.
Sure. Did you ever ask him like, hey, why did you hire me?
No, honestly, I
Yeah.
think maybe I was maybe just either didn't care about that response, or I was just like didn't okay with whatever reason it was, but I knew that it was happening in the moment, so I didn't really,
Sure.
it didn't bother me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always an interesting question too, because I've felt that as well. And, sometimes I think you put out just the energy of, hey, I want to learn more from this person. They just seem like they have, a good flow to be around. And it's like, if I can learn from them, sometimes I think that happens a lot with, when I was a young coach getting in, I was signing a lot of people up to train with me, not thinking I was doing like sales work, quote unquote. It's like I just was talking to people, and then they're like, hey, how does this work? How do I work with you? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's almost that like beginner luck, because you're just so excited about talking about this shit all day. And then people just get kind of drawn to it. So it's always interesting to see. I had a story I had an older woman, Helen. I've told this story before, of her goal was to open up the peanut butter jar. She was like 90 years old, and she couldn't eat breakfast anymore in the morning because she had arthritis in her hands, and she wanted to work out for that. And as a 24-year-old kid at the time, everything was about aesthetics, and like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just something you don't know, like when you're an ignorant young kid. And then sure enough, we worked together. 3 weeks later, she comes in with a peanut butter jar, puts it on my desk, and opens the jar in front of me.
Oh, wow.
I still like, I get like choked up here talking about this story, because she had this look on her face like she was Usain Bolt, who just won an Olympic gold medal, like running. And it shows like everybody's got a different goal of what they're aspiring to do. Maybe this guy, he wanted to be around his daughter, maybe have some kinship of what they were doing.